What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Hope you guys all had a fantastic new comic book day. Hope you guys all had a great day. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come hang out and talk some new comics. Man, this was a hell of a week. We had a lot of books come out. I've got 15 to talk about today, and there was a lot that I skipped out on Marvel. I skipped out on Doctor Strange, Invincible Iron Man. I'm sure I'm missing like 2 other ones from Marvel, but on top of that, I wasn't able to read the Ambassadors. Oh, the other ones from DC, I didn't get to. I think it was Green Arrow that came out this week. So there's a few that I missed out on, but 15 other ones to talk about. It really was a big week for me. Everybody right now, what's going on? K-Bar, Mr. Negative, Dynamite, Mets fan, John Spilio, Second Street, Raj, what's up, everybody? Hope you guys are all having a great day. I'm checking it out. Second Street says Lovesick is the best freaking series you've read in a couple of years. Damn, that's crazy. I skipped out after that first issue. It wasn't bad by any means. I didn't keep going with it. I might have to go back and start picking some of those up. Dynamite, I didn't even know Sweet Tooth Season 2 was coming out. I hope you liked it. I don't know. I've read the series. I loved it. I didn't really like the first season at all. Man, Mr. Negative and John Spilio says Green Arrow was the read of the week and said Green Arrow was great. I'll have to check it out. Like I said, it was a super busy week for me. I was kind of limited on what I was getting. I mean, plus 20 issues from the matter of Wednesday afternoon to now. That was a lot to read. So I was good with 15. But if there's any ones that I didn't grab, I saw Second Street also say Miss Meow finale was fire. I'm going to have to go back and check out some of those Merc Publishing books because everyone keeps hyping them up. Seeing all the Green Arrow reviews, might need to check it out. AJ, what's up, buddy? So let's see, some of the ones we're going to be going over. I'm going to start with Marvel. I'm going to move into the indies. We're going to wrap it up with Image. And then at the end of the stream, I'm going to do all of the tier making stuff. But I've got for Marvel, we got Daredevil, Hulk finale, Thor, Deadpool, Strange Academy, Venom Lethal Protector, the new Alien series. That's a huge week for Marvel alone. So that's why I ended up skipping out on the Invincible Iron Man and whatever other one I just said that I skipped out on from Marvel this week. I mean, what, 2, 4, 6, 7 books alone? Oh, Doctor Strange. 7 books alone for Marvel. That's way bigger than I usually get. IDW's Last Ronin. AWA's Trojan was the series finale. Blue Book issue 3 from Dark Horse. Plush series finale. Killadelphia. I think it's either the end or the beginning of a new arc. What's the furthest place from here? And then I also read Indigo Children. Indigo Children number 2. Yeah, Indigo Children number 2, I read that digitally, and there's one other one that I have here that I read digitally that I can't remember off the top of my head. What was it? Was it this one? Man, there's another one that I read. Oh, I read Neighbors from Boom Studios digitally. We'll get to those too. All right, let's see. Is it weird that I wait till I get 4 to 5 issues before I read the books? No, I don't think so at all. Because I always talk about how when I always say series is better read all at once or better read in bunches like that, there's a lot of there's a lot of series, I should say, that are way better just reading a couple at a time. To be honest, most of them come from Jeff Lemire, in my opinion. So, no, I don't think that's weird at all. Glenn Smith, what's up, buddy? Like the first issue of Doctor Strange, but I was getting one book more than I wanted, and it wasn't on my pull list, so I didn't grab that. I don't blame you. The only reason I even grabbed that first one was because of the Alex Ross cover art, and I'm going to be honest with you guys. The interior artwork, same guy who did Namor Conquered Shores, I don't like that art at all. I do not think it's good, and the first issue was a little tough for me to get through. The story didn't seem bad, but the art, it just didn't do it for me. But, as I was saying, let's get into it. We got a lot of good books to talk about today. I want to have a good amount of time to talk about each individual, and obviously I want to hear your opinions on everything too. So if you're just tuning in, I'm starting off with Marvel first, and we're going to kick this one off with Daredevil. So this is Daredevil, issue number 10. This is cover A, written by Chip Zdarsky. Artwork, I believe, is Marco Cicchetto. Let me say it right. Marco Cicchetto and Matthew Wilson's on the cover. I'm not saying the series is losing me a little bit, but I think this is one that is definitely better read, as we were just talking about, in trade format or hardcover, so you can get a lot of the issues at once. Like this one, kind of like the last one, we're still playing catch-up on everything that was going on between the fist and the hand. And this one, we finally got to see the Avengers getting involved. We got Daredevil, we got Elektra, they're fighting Captain America and Spider-Man, and I don't think anyone else showed up. I think Iron Man also showed up. But here's a little bit of the artwork. I like the story that they're doing. I almost do want to go back and read it all at once again, though. I think it's very good. I think Chip Zdarsky has done a great job on it so far. But there's a lot of story. There's a lot of moving parts, and I think the time in between, I think it's what, one issue a week, or not a week, sorry about that, one issue a month. There's a lot of time in between some of these issues, and it feels like I'm forgetting some of the story, and there's a lot of detail going on with it, because one of the characters that was in the beginning of this series made an appearance in it once again. I'm not going to be spoiling too much more, because there was honestly a ton of action, and if I talk about the story itself, that's what I feel like is probably going to ruin most of it. But I really like how Chip Zdarsky is kind of putting Matt Murdock and Elektra in this weird spot. They know what they have to accomplish, and they're putting their beliefs and everything going on. I believe it's with the fist. Are they with the fist, or are they with the hand? No, they're with the fist. So they're putting their belief and everything that they're believing in with the hand, or the fist. I'm sorry, I'm still mixing it up. And they're kind of throwing their other morals out of the way, because, I mean, you know, it's Daredevil. He's for the law. And if you remember the first series, he ended up going to prison because he kind of started breaking some laws. And now we have him, I don't know, he's kind of doing his own thing. He's putting his personal religious beliefs before some of the other things. Like, he broke everybody out of prison. He's trying to reform them. But at the same time, yes, he's trying to do a good thing by helping them and getting them back on the path. He still broke them out of prison. So we got the Avengers. They're saying, nah, man, you can't do that. You've been doing all this illegal shit. We need to figure out what's going on with you. And that's kind of what the overall premise of this issue was. So like I said, they did a good job with it. I think, though, I mean, I'm going to keep going with it, but this series absolutely deserves a reread. It deserves my full attention. It deserves everything to be taken in all at once, because the story is just so well written. The artwork, let me show you some more of this art. It's gorgeous. They did, I don't want to spoil that for you. That's one of the big characters that pops up. Let's go like this. So like I said, straight up action, but the artwork is just gorgeous in this series. They did such a good job with it. So what do you guys been saying about this one? Best Marvel book of the week. What other Marvel books did I have? Alien was good, but I think you might be right. I think out of Marvel, Daredevil probably is the best Marvel book of the week that I've read. Oh man, Mark, that ending, I'll tell you what. Glenn, I didn't see the Eastman Daredevil variant at my shop. It's so good. Everything's starting to see. That's the best part about this Daredevil series, is that everything, and I don't think I've actually really hit on this too much. I always just say, like, it's very well written. I like the plot. I like what's going on. Everything that Chip Zdarsky started off with this series, like the initial plot of everything, like K-Bar just said, it's starting to come full circle. Everything that they've been working for and building up for and fighting, and like I said, they released everybody from that prison. Stuff is happening with them. Everything is finally starting to come together, and it's putting Daredevil kind of in the hot seat. Elektra's definitely in the hot seat after this issue, but man, that's what I'm saying. It deserves a reread. It deserves full attention. Hey, Ko, what's going on, buddy? Love that Daredevil cover. Dope cover, dope issue. I agree. This probably was my favorite issue of the week for Marvel. Let's see. Bone Factory, what's up, buddy? I was outside making new vegetable gardens. Oh man, dude, I gotta get the gardens going this year. Finally moved into the new house. Well, last year I did, and everything. I had a lot of stuff going on last year, so now time's gotten a little bit easier for me. I have a little bit more of an open schedule. Not super open, but I started doing more housework. Redid the front. Got some more to do, but man, the garden's definitely got to happen this year. Better than Strange Academy? Yeah, in my opinion, definitely. We'll actually talk about Strange Academy next. Let me grab that one. And then let's see. Hey, Kaiser, what's up, buddy? Sup, chat? No. Nah, dude, I've only been going for like 12 minutes. That's the first book that I start. That's the first book so far. But the next one. So KO said It was better than Strange Academy with a bunch of question marks. So this is so Strange Academy Finals issue number 6, cover A. This is written by Scotty Young. Art is still by Humberto Ramos. This one's a little tough to talk about for me. I love Strange Academy. This was no doubt in my mind my favorite ongoing series from Marvel. I think they did a phenomenal job on the first volume. I loved everything about it, but you start to get the sense that it was, to me at least, feeling a little rushed. And I started getting the idea, like, man, they're ending it. They're ending like the first semester, and then they're going to be redoing it with a number 1 called Finals. And when I grabbed the first issue, it literally was a continuation off of the last issue. So I kind of thought, ooh, so they're restarting it to get more readers in, when in reality, new readers absolutely cannot jump onto this series without starting from the beginning. And then even with the Strange Academy Finals, in my opinion, it started to feel a little, I mean, I was just saying it felt rushed, but it almost felt like nothing was, the things that they were building for and everything that they were leading to with Emily Bright and kind of the Strange Academy being split. She's trying to start her army. She recruited Dormammu and some other demons and stuff. And then we got the kids who were, prepping for everything. That's what they've been building for a while now. And then we started Strange Academy Finals. I'm pretty positive in Finals, that's when everything was going on with Calvin in the very beginning. So we moved away from Calvin, and then we started going back to back to the Strange Academy. And they were talking about the war between Emily and Doyle and whoever else at the Academy itself. But nothing was really moving forward. And in the last issue, that's when everything popped off and it said, all right, we are gearing up for the big battle that you've been waiting for this whole time, for the final issue of the series. And I was like, hold on, you've been building up this war for a while now. Emily's out. She recruited Dormammu. She recruited all these people. She wants to take down the Academy. And I just feel like it was a letdown. I honestly think the Strange Academy Finals overall was a letdown of a volume. Let me check some of these. Comments. But that's what I want to leave you at, because I want to see what some of you got to say about that too. Just saw a review of the new Alien, not favorable to say the least. I'll talk about it soon, but I can see why. What's going on, everyone? Don Johnson, what's up, buddy? Sipping on some bourbon. Cheers to all. I don't have bourbon in this, but I'll sip on some water for now. No, I'm not getting violent over this book. Don Johnson, I'm always busy, man. I'm always busy, but I do what I can to make time for the channel and prioritize this. I always like to make sure I get these reviews in. Comic books they're a part of my daily life, and this community is also part of my daily life. So I love doing this stuff with you guys. But I mean, hey, family's also, family's always going to be number one. Don't you guys forget that either. So if something does happen and I have to, take off for a stream or anything like that, that's literally the only reason I would ever take off. But back to Strange Academy Finals. What do you guys think about it? I honestly, yeah. So Mark McGrath says, I think they were told to wrap it up, so it felt a bit rushed. Absolutely. What was your motivation to read comic books? To be honest, so the reason, so this is a little off topic, well, not off topic, but not review wise. The reason I got back into comics after a ton of years, I read them when I was younger. It was, my dad was always into that stuff. And then when I joined the military, I was out in Oklahoma for like 5 or 6 years or something like that. I was out there. And my dad always got the weekly books. And my brain was like, oh, they still come out with weekly comics? Like, I was out of the loop completely for a while there. So when I joined the military and, he's telling me which books he picked up, I thought, what, there's probably a comic book shop near me. And there was. So I picked up an omnibus. I started reading some stuff. And I was like, all right, so I'll just get a weekly pull list. I was getting like 5 books a week, all Marvel, just all Marvel. Then it moved into 10, and I was like, all right, cool. I'll get these 10 books. They're all my favorite characters. And then I started slowly dropping off Marvel, and I was moving more into the indies. I didn't even know indies existed, to be honest. I just thought it was Marvel and DC. So it was a lot of learning on my end. And to answer your question, it was pretty much just a way to just kind of have that relationship still with my dad. I was calling him every Wednesday. I say, hey, I just picked up these books. Which ones did you get? I said, did you see this cover? These are the covers that I got. And it was just a fun thing I did with my dad. And then one thing led to another. And well, 3 years later, here I am doing YouTube videos. And turns out there's an entire community that also equally loves reading comic books and doing this stuff. I was honestly mind blown. I had no idea that comics were still that popular as it was. And this was like 6 years ago now. So it's really cool to see. So I hope that answers your questions a little bit. Kaiser, I skipped finals like I did in high school. Air Force. Yeah, I was in the Air Force, man. Air Force was a bunch of fun. Yeah, I stopped reading probably early 2000s. I was starting to get a little bit older, and then, like I said, one thing led to another. I went to high school, went to college. I saw all the movies. I loved watching all the movies. But I had no idea that comics were still what they were. My dad was getting all the Omnis. He's getting weekly books, and the Omnis was how I got back into it. But yeah, that's to sum up Strange Academy Finals. I think Mark said it best. I feel like they were kind of told to wrap it up, like they want to restart eventually. And I think they ended it with like coming back or something like that. The end for now. So obviously it's coming back again with a whole new class of kids, it seems. But I don't know. It was a really disappointing ending to what I thought was a really good series. They skimped out on a few parts that I feel like they could have. I mean, we got a series. Realistically, we have the Hulk issue number 14. This Hulk series sucked. There's no reason we couldn't have had Strange Academy going for a long time. At least 25, 30 issues. I can't imagine it wasn't like a high sales series. Let's see. If you got a chance to be a superhero for a day, what will you do? Man. That's a tough one. Let me think about that. I'll get back to you a little bit later in the stream. But that's my thoughts on Strange Academy. And now we'll do Deadpool. I think most people get into him as kids, have a lull when they come back and hit the indies. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. How many comics can I read in a day? Wednesday's my big day. So my Wednesday is basically go to the shop, because that's what I deem as my kind of day off. I go to the shop, pick up all my books, pretty much read all of my books on Wednesday. And by that point, that pretty much leads me into the EXP stream that I do with, the EXP guys over at Dynamite. That takes me into like 6 o'clock. So I usually stop reading around 4. So I'm reading for like 4 hours, 5 hours that day. I do that, and then I do some editing at night, blah, 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 get ready for this stream. Today, usually Thursday, I'll read a few extra books if I can get a hold of them or not. But to be honest, there's days where I've sat down and read like a deluxe hardcover in one sitting. So I think in one day I could probably read like 10 or 15 comics, but I tend to only read a few a day. If I read every day, it's usually only a couple, because I don't want to burn myself out, because I know Wednesday is always a big day. My trajectory for reading, then break, and then getting back into is very, very similar. It's what happens, man. I mean, what was it? I think like Don Johnson just said, you get older, things happen. You're just, you're not a kid anymore. You don't have that free time. Like right now, I mean, you see a lot of other YouTubers that have been very consistent with content, and they're just not, they're not as consistent as they were. Whether it's they've moved into live streaming, kind of like I have. They've stopped making videos completely. It's life happens. Those things happen. But so next one from Marvel, we got Deadpool issue number 6. This is cover A. This is written by Alyssa Wong, and the artist is. Let me see if I can find the artist real quick. I think it's at the end of the book. Pena, I think that's the name. Let's see, where is it? Oh man, now I don't know. All right, here we go. Alyssa Wong and then Javier Pena. So that's who did the art on this book. Here's a little bit. Oh, actually, let me show you some Strange Academy art, because I forgot about that. It's not really a spoiler, because I told you the entire issue was all fighting. It was the war. It was the big war. So there's the art for that book. Here is the art for Deadpool. I like the art for Deadpool. I think it works with the story quite well. There's really nothing special about this series. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. I like it. I do. I think it's a good series. I think Alyssa Wong has done a good job capturing Deadpool's personality, but I can see where people aren't really enjoying it too much because there's not a whole lot going on in the series. I go into it with the mindset of it's a Deadpool series. It's not going to be plot driven. It's just going to be him acting like a buffoon, doing some dumb shit. And there's going to be a lot of action and fighting. And that's exactly what this series has been. They're still kind of hitting at the same plot that they have since the very beginning. And to be honest, it's really not that special. We had the Harrower, and she kind of planted a Carnage seed within Deadpool, got it to grow. And then as the series went on, Deadpool kind of hatched this, like, let me get a picture, like this kind of Carnage dog. And I think he named her Princess. But this entire issue was just Deadpool and Valentina going on a date, and he had Lady Deathstrike watching the dog. But we still had the assassins from the Atelier that are still after Deadpool and Valentina because, well, Valentina opted not to kill Deadpool. So now they're after her as well for, I guess, a better spot in the Atelier, or some of them are still working to get accepted into the Atelier, one or the other. But that's literally what the entire issue was. That's what the whole series has been so far. Just action, Deadpool shooting off some zingers. And, you know, he's trying to have a nice Valentine's Day with Valentina. That's really all it is. I think the cover, in my opinion, sums up the issue perfectly well. He's trying to have a good time with her, but we've got Lady Deathstrike in the back, just trying to keep all the attention off of them while they can have a nice date together. So, not a bad issue. Don Johnson, so Deadpool's a filler issue. If we're being real here, I'd say Deadpool, it feels like a filler series, if that makes sense at all. There's just really nothing going on in it. I'm sure at some point, because they did build some stuff up with the Harrower. Doc Ock plays a small role. The Atelier, we still don't really know a lot about that, but as far as this issue goes, this is definitely the biggest filler issue of the series so far, but they're really not doing shit with the story to begin with. Did they have an Alex Ross cover? I'm not 100%, but I can check real fast. Let's see. Which one is more entertaining? TV, movies, games, or comics? That's a tough one. So right away, I'm probably there was an Alex Ross timeless variant. It was the Mole Man. I thought there was, but I wasn't 100%. So Kaiser, comics, games, movies, TV. I think that's probably the best way to put it, but I'm going to put comics and games kind of on the same level, because as far as TV goes, I don't watch a lot of TV to begin with, and movies, I don't really keep up to date with a lot of movies anymore either. I feel like I can't really sit. I mean, back in the day, movies used to be like an hour and a half long, an hour and 20 minutes. Now they're like guaranteed to be 2 hours. A lot of them even pushing 2.5 hours. That's a lot of time out of my day. And especially if I'm watching a movie at night, I finally sit down and it's 9 o'clock and this movie's going to be over at 11:30, maybe even pushing 12 by the time I'm actually done watching it. Maybe I might even fall asleep. So it's a little tough for me to watch movies. That's never really been my thing. But to me, I'm going to put comics first as a good form of entertainment. Well, actually, no. The question is, what is more entertaining? To me, it's games. Video games are the most entertaining thing for me because it depends on what I play. I like to play horror games, like Silent Hill, Resident Evil, shit like that. Those are my games. Although Rocket League, I spent a long time of my life playing Rocket League. If we're strictly speaking entertainment, that's going to go number one. But if it's my order, I'm going to go comics first, because I feel like when I'm reading comics, I'm learning, I'm reading, I'm doing something that's kind of, it makes me feel better about myself instead of just sitting there doing something mindless. And then games come up because it's kind of the same thing. I like to play games on sometimes the hardest level just because it makes it a challenge instead of just blowing through something. It's like a shoot 'em up. I like to think about it. I try to treat a game like a puzzle. How do I beat this area? How do I beat this area or this level? So it's different. I do things in different ways like that. Still playing that game. I've only ever gotten the diamond. I think my highest was platinum, I think. Let's see. It's good. It's also a great quality book cover and paper. Oh, for deep cuts. I gotta check out deep cuts. But yeah, so we've covered, if you guys are just tuning in so far, we've covered Daredevil 10, Strange Academy Finals 6, and Deadpool 6. So we didn't get too far just yet. That's kind of, KO, that's kind of how I feel. I play games very sporadically. I started Last of Us #2 on grounded mode like a month and a half ago, and I haven't played in about 2.5 weeks now, so take that for what it is. Kaiser, I am on PlayStation. Let's see. Next up, we'll do... we'll get this one out of the way. Thor, issue number 33. All right. The series sucks. I'm sorry. I don't think it's good. I don't think there's really anything good about this series anymore. I've done what I could to continue on with it. I've done what I could to stay positive about this series. I've lost it all. The last thing that really kept me going on this series was the artwork. I said, you know what? The story's not that great, but Nick Klein's visuals on it are phenomenal. I love looking at his artwork, and the story will get better. Well, the story not only didn't get better, but the artwork, I don't want to say it sucks, because I suck at art. I'm the standard of what sucks at artwork. It's just not visually appeasing to me. It's not visually appealing. I don't like it. I'll put it that way. Just to sum it up nice and simply, I don't think it's good. I don't think it goes well with the story at all. And I think the problem is when you're going from Nick Klein's artwork to this artwork, it's like this massive downgrade, and it just feels cheap. I mean, look at Dr. Doom's expressions right there. Thanos equally had a really goofy expression in this one too. KO, I didn't actually read the Green Arrow book this week. I didn't have enough time. Where's that picture of Thanos? Actually, I think it was Dr. Doom. Oh my goodness. Even Hela. I don't know what's going on in this artwork. I don't know what's going on with these expressions. I still feel like there was one with Thanos that I was looking at like, ugh. Yeah, it was at the end. Oh, yeah, it was at the end here. I'm sorry, it's the last page. But, like, that little expression with Thanos right there. Let me get a little bit closer for you guys. Look at that. I don't know, man. The poses are awkward. Yeah, KO. Thor needs a reboot. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I have nothing to say about this series. The story's not good. The artwork's not good. And I feel like, to me, with this one, I've been holding out the entire time for Thanos to finally make his appearance and to finally start doing something with that black Infinity Stone. I think they're calling it stones in this one, not gems. And I was like, all right, cool. We're finally getting into Thanos, or they're referencing Thanos. And that was in the Death Note. Was that what they called it? Thanos Death Notes or whatever. And the artist was still Nick Klein. And now they brought Dr. Doom into it for whatever reason, outside of him probably making an appearance in a movie or a TV show sooner than later, is the only reason Dr. Doom's making appearances in any of these books. But it's just not good. I've lost it all. I feel like I'm 33 issues deep and I've been cheated. I feel like I've not only been let down. You know how parents always say, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And that just hits you so much harder. That's how I feel about this series. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at the art. I'm not mad at the story. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that it's 33 issues deep, and when you finally started to get into the Thanos story that everybody has, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but that I have personally been really waiting for. Not only did you change the writer, and then you changed the artist, that's a massive downgrade from Nick Klein, to do the story that you initially started the story off with, that everyone's heads were spinning, with Thanos wielding an infinity Mjolnir with the army of the dead behind him. Can you imagine that? How awesome that panel was? And then they put it on a front cover. And then imagine that happening 30-ish issues later. And this is the art that it's going to be with. Some sort of artwork like this. This is the Thanos that we're going to be getting after that super badass page. No. That's what it was. That's what it was. It was a letdown. It was a massive letdown. I almost made... for the tier category, chat, you know how it's always S, A, B, C, D? I almost took out the D and just put it either as the Marvel tier or the Thor tier. Because Thor is constantly a letdown every single time. That's all I have to say about that one. All right, let's see. Thor needs a reboot. That's a fact. What's my pick of the week, smell of the week, cover of the week? I'm going to do the pick of the week at the end. Well, I haven't smelled all of them yet, but I know Marvel's all smell like shit, so I don't have to go back and try that. Cover of the week. I have to redouble check on Indigo Children, because I read that one digitally. I know. I think I know which one's the cover of the week. I'll talk about it a little bit later. Yeah, Marvel tier. I'm sorry. He did leave Thor. I don't know if he was why Nick Klein decided to leave too. Maybe because it was Donny Cates leaving, but it's a disappointment. And I know I can't be the only one thinking that it's a massive disappointment. I'm sure there's a lot of Thor fans out there that are really bummed about this series. Digital smell of the week. Now we're on to another disappointment. Hulk issue number 14. It's another series that really sucked. Is it as bad as Thor? That's debatable now. That's honestly debatable. I've been more let down with Thor with like 20-ish issues compared to like 10 or 11 of these issues. So it's finally over. This is the series finale. I don't hate Ryan Ottley for doing a bad job. He only had a few issues to do. I was talking with someone with this. They said Ryan Ottley should not be writing comics, and I was like, Ryan Ottley, it's not his fault. There's only a few issues left, and he took over an already established story. What's he supposed to do? Just start something fresh. They ended it. He's got to wrap it up the best way that he can. And I'm sure he was in talks with Donny Cates about it. Like, oh yeah, this is what I planned on doing. Just maybe something similar to this, something along those lines. I said, hey, N1, N2, what's up, buddy? Don't be sad. It was bad. Just be happy it's finally over. That's really it. I'm happy this is over. Thor, on the other hand, I'm not happy with myself for buying 33 issues. I'll put it that way. But Thor, Hulk, I'm sorry. I don't want to spoil it because it wasn't bad as an ending. I'm happy it's over. I will say that. I'm very happy it's over. I think the artwork is fine. I think Ryan Ottley did a great job with the artwork. Like I said, I don't fault him for the story at all. Like a few people that I've talked to, they said, he's terrible at writing. He didn't really have a good shot at this series. It was all pretty much established. He just wrapped it all up. But we had Hulk, Titan Hulk, everybody that was still on Hulk Planet. What was her name? It was something with an M. I mix her up with the one from the Venom series. I feel like it's the same name. Let's see. What was her name again? The problem is I guess it doesn't. Oh, Monolith. What's the one from Venom then? I thought that was Monolith as well. I don't even remember. But Monolith was in it, and surprisingly, Monolith is the one that played the big role in this issue. I thought, well, I just thought about it. I thought about it. I was bitching about that Thor issue for so long. I didn't even talk about what happened in that issue. But to wrap this one up, those are all the characters that played a big role. Monolith actually played, in my opinion, probably the biggest role of the issue. She was the one that was kind of fighting Titan Hulk the entire time. So take all that for what it is. Do I recommend the series? I absolutely do not recommend the series. If you can get a good deal on a trade paperback, I still don't recommend the series. Now, if you get it for free, I still probably wouldn't read it, honestly. Now, one series that I do recommend from Marvel is, like I said, I'm going through all the Marvel ones first. Venom Lethal Protector. This is volume 2. This is issue number 2. This is cover A. Written by David Michelini, and the artwork is, it looks like Fareed Karami. I believe that's who it is. Yes, Fareed Karami. I really like this. I think they've done a great job with it so far. I honestly think so. I think it's a lot of fun. I think if you're a Venom fan, it kind of really reminds you of the old school Venom series, shit from like the 90s. Yeah, Fizbin. What's up, Fizbin? Like you said, I like the old school cover. That's what I mean. It like really brings you back to an old Venom series. Something like, I don't know, I'm pretty sure there was a, Lethal Protector from the 90s as well. Somebody asked me if these were reprints of the original Lethal Protector. And I said, no, I said, sadly, they're not reprints. And they said, you don't think they could have came up with another name? And I told myself, I said, hey, Marvel knows what they're doing. They know what sells. But Silver Sable played a role in this one. Nick Fury was in this one. The artwork is awesome. The artwork really takes you back. It kind of looks a little bit more old school, like a 90s comic. This is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun issue. It's not the Eddie Brock that we have today, where he's just this kind of older man and he's, I don't know, the King in Black. He's everything and nothing all at the same time. This is right here. We've got Meathead Eddie Brock, and we've got Venom that still just wants to eat brains, and it's just so much fun. The first volume was a lot of fun, too. I really wish the ongoing was like this. I wish this was honestly an ongoing. It feels like an overall, just a very well thought out story. From beginning, middle, and end. I mean, there's great artwork. I love the lines on this. There's a lot of dialogue, and the dialogue all makes sense. You've got a couple different plot points going on with this one, because it picks up where the last one left off. We've got Eddie Brock. We got Silver Sable. She's trying to recruit him because she was able to see how powerful and strong they both were together. Stuff happens then with S.H.I.E.L.D. and Nick Fury, and I think Hydra kind of makes an appearance in this one. I'm not going to be talking about it too much more, because there is kind of a lot of stuff that happens with it. I mean, shit. Look at the fighting in this. This is awesome. It's so sad to see that you have a comic like this where you see a lot of work goes into it. You see a lot of great effort that goes into the writing, that goes into the artwork, and you see the styles match with each other. And you just get some other schlop thrown together. Just like, oh yeah, put it out there because it's a popular character and everybody's just going to buy it anyway. A series like this deserves more praise. This one deserves, in my opinion, an ongoing from Marvel. I mean, I hate to keep going back to Thor because ASM is also equally a pretty shit issue. But, I mean, when you go from this, I'd hate to call it unreadable, but it's more of like a joke and a slap in the face to fans, to something like this. It gives you faith again in Marvel as a franchise. It makes you remember that they are actually capable of putting out good quality content. But man, it's very sporadic at this point. It's tough for me to want to pick up a new series because I feel like it's going to be on the not good side compared to something where when I'm done reading, I'm like, man, that was some quality stuff. That I really enjoyed. Let's see. Speaking of, I have not read Clobbering Time. To me, I assumed that was going to be a cheap Marvel series. I don't know anyone reading it either, unless if... I was going to say, I know somebody put a comment about it again. So Andrew Ryan Bailey says it's some good quality content. That's good. And I heard Joe Fixit was really good too. Dynamite Miracle Man, a solid series from Marvel. I don't think I've heard anything about that series just yet. But is it the Neil Gaiman one? Is that the Miracle Man? Or something like that? Let's see. K-Bar says, worst part is all these quiet, good, something good series they put out gets zero marking. The quiet good series. Okay, I thought it was a spelling mistake at first, but no, you're good. The quiet good series they put out gets zero marking. See, that's the thing. Like Venom Lethal Protector, you're not going to see a single ad about this. Maybe there was like one a couple weeks before the series released or something like that. But there's, you know, you don't get anything like that. The stuff you see constantly, and I know you all know what I'm talking about, like the ones that are in the middle. Let's see. Like this. This is in the middle of like every single Marvel comic, and you know this is going to be shit. You already know. Contest of Chaos. Absolute Chaos corrupts absolutely. Steve Orlando, Carlos Nieto, Scarlet Witch Annual 1. It all kicks off here. First off, who's reading Scarlet Witch anymore? We got 44 people watching right now. Is there anyone reading Scarlet Witch? I'm not trying to talk down on it. That's a serious question. Because my shop ordered like 2 copies of issue number 1, and I don't think they ordered any copies of any of the other issues. I don't know anybody posting anything about that series. I'm not seeing anything positive about it. So that's why I'm asking. I don't... See, that's what I'm saying. So JP, awesome. That's it. Like I said, I have, you know, it's not like oh my God, whoever's reading that, like, that's a terrible move. Like, no, I'm seriously wondering, is it good? I didn't like the first issue at all. I thought it was terrible. But Todd M says no, have zero interest in ever picking up a Scarlet Witch series. See, I had interest in it. I was very interested in it because that Scarlet Witch, what was it even? WandaVision. I love that show. I thought they did a great job with it. Vision's one of my favorite, I don't want to say she's one of my favorite characters, but she's a very good character in my opinion, when it comes to Marvel as of late. The art's pretty good. I can agree with that. I think the art was good when I was reading it. But that first issue was just too damn boring to me. And the fact that the first issue was that boring, and then they're making kind of an event out of it too, like, get ready guys, gear up for this massive annual, Absolute Chaos begins here. And who's it between? Scarlet Witch and Agatha. Nobody gives a fuck about Agatha either. I'm sorry. Just because you threw her into the TV show and now everybody just has to like her because she's getting her own TV show as well. Marvel's giving people shit nobody's asking for. Let's see. BJ says Clobber in Time is awesome. That's great. I should go back and check them out. Hey, Pops, what's going on, bud? How you doing? Thanks for tuning in, man. Let's see. N1N2 says I did not read the Hulk series at all. I'm waiting for Wiccan to show up from KO. A lot of Marvel comics that go back to the past eras are pretty solid. MCU Bleed. Yeah, I'll tell you what, yeah, MCU, just, hasn't been doing it for me. I feel bad talking, like, so negatively about it, because, I mean, people watching right now, it's like, oh, dude, look at it, like, Thor was garbage, Hulk sucked, Deadpool, I didn't really have anything negative or positive to say about it, it's just like a filler issue. Strange Academy, I thought was a letdown, and Daredevil was very good. That's all I said. Daredevil's probably the best Marvel book of the week, but, man, most of these just were abysmal. Mephisto should be Wanda's main villain. I mean, that's what I'm saying, Kaiser. Is it really that difficult of a thing for someone to figure out? If I was sitting at Marvel right now, I would look at that like, all right, we got Wanda, we got Vision. What's the most logical thing that we could possibly do? Mephisto. It's what the fans want. It's what the fans asked for. It would be badass as hell. So let's do it. And then there's apparently somebody there that said, absolutely not. That's a horrible idea. What if we give him Agatha Harkness instead? And everyone was like, Agatha. And then you hear someone in the back like, yeah, Agatha. And that's what stuck. I don't understand it, man. Pastor of Muppets. Oh, man, that's still such a cool name. Vader, Black, White, and Red. Not what I thought, but not bad either. Those, I will say, the Black, White, and Red stuff for Marvel is usually good. I tend to give the first issues a try. I read the Elektra one, Carnage one. Deadpool, I think, had one. I've read most of them. Wolverine, I read that one. I didn't check out the Star Wars one, though. I don't read a lot of Star Wars. But for the most part, the Darth Vader books are usually pretty good. Now, this is, let's see. On the plus side, indies popped off like crazy this week. And now I'm excited to start talking about those, man. Indies, that's what I'm saying. Indies had a pretty good week, for the most part. There's a few in there. But like I said, for the most part... So next up, we're going to go with, this is the last one from Marvel. We got Alien issue number 1, and I think it was Mark McGrath earlier that said he didn't hear anything good about it. Let's see if it was him. It's pretty far. I'm sure Mark is still in the house, so he'll comment if it was him or not. Let's see. Comic Chef, what's up, buddy? I feel like Marvel's just selling what's coming out on Disney Plus. That is a fact. I swear, you go back to some of my old videos, even the old spec videos that I've made. I've said it's obvious and easy to see what you should spec on because assuming you're reading the books. When you see these random ass characters pop up, you can start to put two and two together that they are indeed showing up in Marvel. There was, not speaking for WandaVision, but I think we did have a Speed and Wiccan series before that. I don't remember. Either way, not that. But then with the Hawkeye show, Kate Bishop had her own series. America Chavez before that, I think in the summer, had her own little series. And then, you know, look at it right now. Doctor Doom is showing up in literally every single comic, and he's showing up for no reason. Yeah, Fizbin, literally, it's time to spec on Doom. He's been popping up all over. That's what I'm saying. Logically, Doctor Doom is going to be showing up in something a lot sooner than later. He's showing up in Thor. He's showing up on covers. He's showing up in all these different series. He's coming to Disney Plus or the MCU at some point. Galactus is probably showing up too. Let's see. Oh yeah, Gray from Tea House reviewed it. Yeah, so Alien #1. I can see why people didn't really like it. I think, so was it $5? So it's a $5 book, so that already kind of puts a little saltier taste in a lot of people's mouths because it's a whole dollar extra. Don't blame them. But I really like the artwork. Here's the artwork. I think they did a great job on the art. I'm also going to say it is a fresh Alien story as far as aliens so far in this recent modern Marvel. Now, it's not something new and it's not something fresh. To be honest, it kind of reminded me of the beginning of Alien vs. Predator, or at least I think it was that movie when they were in like the Antarctic or something and they found the cavern, they went into it. That's like damn near exactly what's going on in the beginning of this one. And she found a face hugger. But it's frozen, and they kind of, you know, made communication. They said, hey, we found something down here. We gotta, you know, let's inspect it a little bit more. There's a shitload of just kind of dialogue after that. I mean, look at it all. It's a lot. Oh, this is the other ad that keeps popping up. What was this freaking stupid thing? Oh, this one. The Ultimate Invasion. They are hyping the life out of this one. You know, these are going to be, I think, $10 each for every issue. I'm sorry. I don't care. It is what it is. But back to this one. BJ, I'll be getting to TMNT. I actually have that one next. So that one's going to be next on the list. I think Texas Snake, I think that's a good way to describe it. I think Alien, I think this first issue was just mid. I don't think there was anything special about it, but I also don't think it was bad by any means. Like I said, the artwork was really good. Here's a couple, oh my God, in this series, Daredevil and Echo. That just, you know, that continues on with it. Why are we seeing Echo? Because Echo was in the Hawkeye show, right? Hawkeye? Yeah, Echo was in the Hawkeye show, and she's getting her own show. So what does that mean? She's going to be in a comic as well. You know, you can see what Marvel's doing. But it was, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but there was, other than that face hugger at the beginning, there was no alien in this first issue. It was this kind of group right here. It's her, I think her mom and her dad, and then I always mess this name up. Whatever the ship is, Weyland Yutani. I always want to say Yuta. I'm a Nets fan, so Yuta Watanabe is on that team, and for some reason I always want to say that, but it's the Weyland Yutani, and we've been dealing with the Weyland Yutani for every single issue of every single volume so far of this modern Alien, different arcs. And that's literally what this is. They came to the planet because they intercepted that. They kind of found something, and now they're trying to take it. That's literally what this issue was. Was it still good? It wasn't bad. It was interesting. And I think the only reason that I'm saying that it was still on the good side and not on the bad side was because I thought the artwork was really well done. I'll show you a couple more pages. Let's see. Here's another page for you. Like I said, I think the artwork was really good, and that's what kept me going. But it it was kind of tough to get through. I will say that. If I had to put it out of a 10, probably like a 6, 6.5, maybe a 7 at best. No, probably a 6. So, it is what it is. Let's see. Let's see. They're selling Ultimate Invasion off the hype in the name of Hickman. That's too. Hickman's on it. But yeah, no thanks to a $10 comic. Even when I was getting ASM, the one and only issue that I missed was that $10 issue. Whatever one that was the only one that I didn't get. Joshua Alvey, what's up, buddy? I kind of thought that 2K bar, it kind of reminded me of, was it Seven Secrets from Boom Studios? It slightly reminded me of that with a little bit darker of a tone to it. But that's all the Marvel books. Mark McGrath says, I like Declan Shalvey as a writer, but I didn't care much for the art and some really questionable splash pages. I can agree with that. Let me bring one of them up for you. There was a few, like this one. I think I showed this page already. Like, that's kind of what the splash pages were. There wasn't really anything special going on and nothing too crazy. It was just like a big ass, something going on the page. Let's see if I can get another one real quick. No, we're getting into, there's just nothing really going on in this one. I agree, though. I like Declan Shalvey as a writer. So I know I said I was going to do TMNT The Last Ronin next, but I don't want to forget about one of the digital books I had to read, and I kind of last second read it. I didn't like the first issue at all. I really didn't. But from Boom Studios, I read The Neighbors, issue number 2. I'd put it right here if I had a book. So just imagine here. Check this out. Just imagine this. I don't even. Is it The Neighbors? Neighbors? I don't know. Neighbors 2. All right. Here, check this out. So next up. Oh, check it out. From Boom Studios, we got The Neighbors, issue number 2. As you can tell, see, yep, Neighbors, issue number 2. No, but I'm not going to be talking about this book. It was terrible. It was really bad. I think I'd rather, oh, that's a tough one. I was going to say, I think I'd rather read Thor again, but I don't know if I would rather read Thor again either. I think The Neighbors is not for me. I think there's a decent concept to it with the whole, I think somebody said it was like the invasion of the body snatchers. And I like that aspect to it. But everything going on in that book, I don't know. I don't care. I want to know what's going on with the old neighbor. I want to know what's going on with the other weirdo that's going on. The daughter who's got some possession happening with her, or like I said, an invasion of the body snatchers situation where it's actually something else. I want to know more about that, and they're not really hitting on that. I don't know. It's not for me. I'll put it that way. If anyone is reading it and you kind of, if you do like it, let me know what you think about it. If you don't like it, we can go from there too. But the whole like kind of overall plot with it is you have one of the main characters. So you got a family that moved from the city of New York, so New York City to some, I don't know, random ass middle of nowhere town. And one of the parents is transitioning from, I think, female to a male. And that's kind of what the whole plot is that the character didn't like being in the city because, was it she or he, she's the town. I mean, okay, maybe, I don't know if people are staring. I want to know what's going on with the weirdos in the town. You're missing the whole point that your daughter is, there's like everything's going on with the daughter now. It's a totally different person and nobody seems to notice or care. They're like, why are you doing those weird things? She's dressing different. Her personality's different. She's acting different. And all you're saying is, what, you shouldn't be doing that. Wagging their fingers like this, like, no, you shouldn't do that. Well, it's a totally different person. It's a totally different everything. And that's being blown over. The old lady, they're just saying that she's got dementia and she's old. Like, you got to leave her alone. But she's just like this super creepy neighbor too. And there's this other weirdo and they're not talking about any of that. So I don't know. Maybe I'll give the third issue a try if it's a really light week, but I don't think it's good. I think it's the same writer that did Maw, and I didn't like that series at all either, but it's one of those things, man. Good stuff and bad stuff. Let's see. Neighbors is so out of touch with the community, laughing my ass off. So there's a lot of comics nowadays that put like modern political views and modern like hot topics in the comics. But I've talked about this before, is I don't care what you believe in or what you do. Like it doesn't bother me. I don't give a shit if you do something, you don't do something, who you want to support, who you don't want to support. Hey, up to you, man. Like, you got the freedom to do whatever the hell you want to do. But when I get into comics, I don't like when I guess the best way to put it is I don't like when there's an agenda, like a one-sided argument in a comic book. If you're going to put things like that in a comic, I want to see both sides. I want to see a neutral kind of discussion, or a neutral I don't know, feeling, I guess. Like, if it's politics, like, I don't want to see a comic that's, for example, like dumping on just Trump or just Biden. I want to see them both either like presented in a positive way, or they're both presented in a negative way. I don't want to see, the writer's opinion on it, because, I'm just reading it. I want to see, I don't know. I want to see a neutral if you guys know what I mean, I want to see a neutral idea on it. Instead of just a one-sided argument. And that's kind of how this book feels. And I mean, I don't know. It's, like I said, it's just kind of how it feels to me. Just a one-sided take on it. Let's see. Don Johnson says, where can I pick up that variant on the Neighbors, that 1 in 100? Realistically, eBay is probably the best bet. Let's see. Let's see what they got on eBay. I don't have it up on the screen right now, but the 1 in 15. Is there even a 1 in 100? Because I'm only seeing a 1 in 15 on eBay right now. Let's see about sold. Yeah, I'm only seeing a 1 in 15 on eBay, and a 1 per store for issue number 1. I don't know if there's a 1 in 100. Let's see. There are a lot of books now where there is nobody to root for as the reader. The characters are all awful. That's the other thing too. Everybody's so just like unlikable in a lot of comics, man. Ouroboros Snake, amen, error free country, but I'm picky. I personally, I don't give a shit. I was in the military, man. I dealt with everybody. I saw everybody. I worked in the prison system, same thing. I saw everybody and dealt with everybody. Bro, whatever you want to do, I don't give a shit what you do. None of it affects me. Until it affects me, that's a different story. Let's see. It used to be a big occasion when Doom appeared. Oh, yeah, KO. Doom is just not what Doom was. That's like an event villain right there. That's a big time villain, and he's just this cheap cash grab. They just threw him into the Namor Conquered Shores too, or Doom Bots. I don't know if Doom was actually in it or not. Steven, bro, that's the best way. I appreciate it, man. Like I said, that's how I feel. My comic shop does usually always have the variants. Don Johnson. Hold on. This one. I don't know if it's going to get you a 9.8 anymore. It might. Might be. That one, right over my head. Let's see. I don't mind certain books have slanted opinions from one side or the other, but if it's weaved into the story, I'm cool. Otherwise, it breaks the story immersion for me. The Thing got put in his place in Claw. Oh, a different story. I was like, The Thing? Yeah, totally different thing. Yeah, so sorry, Don. You ain't getting that 9.8 on that one. It's all crushed up. But let's see. Moving on. Oh, yeah, I promised I was going to do IDWs. Hopefully... where was he? Yeah, hopefully BJ's still in here. Oh, I saw, what was that comment? Hey, are you in any club so that we can be a friend? Like what? Like a party club? Man, I'm coming. Man, I don't drink like I used to. I'll put it that way. I drink like I drink like 5 beers now. My whole next day is completely shot. And don't say like, oh, you should eat some food and drink some water. Man, what do you think I do? No, I drink the water and I eat the food. And I still wake up and I feel like I'm done. But from IDW, I mean, I got if you're talking about like a way to chat more about comics, I got the Discord right there. There's a lot of people in it. So that's a way to do it. But from IDW, we got The Last Ronin Lost Years, issue number 3, cover A. Oh, dude, Wine. I can't even touch Wine anymore. Hell no. This is still a fun series. I think this was like, how do I want to describe The Last Ronin Lost Years? I think this is an extremely good story. I'll put it that way. I think this is a great story. I think TMNT's Last Ronin, the volume 1, I think it was a better overall book. I think it was more well-balanced with action, plot, just a lot of fun stuff. And it was a really fun series for TMNT fans. And I think on the... Oops. No shit. That happened right there, man. You guys see that? That little spine tick. That's a color-breaking spine tick that just happened. Oh, no. I don't know. I don't even know how that just like flopped down like that. But either way, I think the best way to describe this one is it's just a very fun story. There hasn't been a lot of action. There's been a little bit here and there. But you really do get to see Michelangelo in the Lost Years. The years before everything that happened for the TMNT Last Ronin Volume 1. You get to see him going through all this training. He's looking for Deathworm, and he's meeting all these different people along the way on this journey. And he's learning something new from every one of them. I mean, obviously, he had all of his brothers all those years. He had Splinter, he had Casey Jones, April, he had all of them. And he was able to learn from all of these people. Well, not technically all of them, but now they're all gone for the most part. And now he's on this journey by himself. He's figuring himself out. He's figuring out what to do next. He knows he wants to get this revenge, but in the last issue, he learned more karate. He learned more of just his inner self, how to breathe better, how to just learn and master his techniques better. And now this one, another thing happens to him, and he has to deal with that adversity too. So it's just a really good story. It's a very well-told story, and I'm a big fan of it for that reason. Let me show you some of the artwork, because like I said, there's not a lot as far as action goes. To be honest, I'm not sure if there was really any action in this issue at all. There's probably a little bit. But this is kind of like the whole issue, like these types of pages right here. A lot of dialogue, very dialogue heavy, but it's a very good story. That's the cool thing about it. So I recommend it. Do you have to read this one before that one? Or, I mean, do you need to read volume 1 before volume 2? Absolutely not. Because this one leads into volume 2. So you technically could start with this one. But I don't know. I would still read the other one first. Mainly because it's already finished. Let's see. Wine. Oh, dude, Wine's horrible. Real-time trauma. I never developed a taste for wine. I have a palate of a 10-year-old. I do like wine. I don't drink it at all, though. Is it good to promote the upcoming movies on comics books form? I mean, what comic book forum or anything, or promote movies on comic book forum? I mean, I think so. If it's Marvel, then absolutely. I mean, none of these other publishers put out movies for the most part. Let's see. I almost got into the Ronin series. Gotta check it. You should. I think it's worth it. They got a hardcover for the volume 1. It's definitely worth the read, especially because it didn't take you, I don't know, like damn near 2 years of waiting for 5 issues to release. And they're pretty consistent with this one. They haven't had any delays so far. So that makes it good too. But the other one was a lot more action. That one was basically pretty much only action, I think. This one's a straight up story so far, and it's been a very good story. Dynamite, yes. I'll show you what they look like. It's all little kid turtles. They always show them at the beginning. I think actually, heard there's 6 turtles now. Technically, in this world, Michelangelo's the only one left alive, but we've got all of these little ones. It's 4 other ones, so I guess technically it would be 5, right? because you got the 4 kind of baby turtles, and then Michelangelo's out living his life. So, yeah. I guess technically 5, but 8 if you're, considering all of them. But moving on, let's do, because we still got 2, 4, 5, 6. Indigo Children, yes. So I've got AWA's Trojan next, and then I'm going to do Dark Horse's Blue Book. And then, 6 in the ongoing. Who? Isn't, because Jenica's the 5th one, right? Raphael. I don't know who the 6th one would be. I'm not keeping up with I'm not keeping up with the ongoing right now. All right, next one, we got AWA's Trojan, issue number 4. This is cover A. Before I even talk about this book, I'm just going to show you some artwork. I got to make sure these pages are good. I think there's a few pages you can't have. Oh, I don't know who Venus is. I don't know who they are. So here's what the artwork looks like. I think it's nice art. Who is this? Is it Lacey? Who is Lacey? It just says Lacey. All right. So Lacey did the artwork on this one. Let me get another page for you. Gotta make sure it's a good page, a safe page. There we go. So some more artwork. And now, let's talk about it. All right. I'm gonna need some water for this one too. All right, you guys know I love AWA. You know AWA is probably my favorite publisher. They consistently put out some fire books. I don't think Trojan was good at all. I think it was a pretty bad series from start to finish. I really wasn't sold on it. The very first issue, I thought, all right, it was slow. It was kind of boring. And then all of a sudden, they hit us with that plot twist at the end. And I was like, all right, cool. I like that. You're this mythic, I think they call them, or legends, whatever it is. She's like, I think there's legends and there's fairies and maybe mythics, and they bring something else up at the very end of this book too. And she is falling into one of those categories, and we didn't know that until the very end. So it's like, all right, cool. So she's got the story. She wants revenge. It all makes sense. You found out in the second issue, it was all a complete lie. That she still is like that fairy monster thing or whatever, but the entire story was a lie. She still wants to get revenge though. Okay, whatever. The third issue, then she went to get her revenge. She went to the castle, wherever the torturing takes place, to follow through with what she's trying to do. And at the same time, I still was thinking, it's okay, but let's see how this wraps up. And to be honest, I thought it wasn't a good ending. I really didn't. I just from start to finish, I didn't like the series. I didn't like how... Oh my God, I'm looking at this right now. I feel like there was parts where like this, I don't know who read this. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a few parts in this book where some things happened, and I had to keep re-looking at the pages to see if I just missed something. Like I didn't understand how that was happening. And she's like kind of portrayed as this Medusa character, like this knockoff Medusa that can kind of fly. She got wings and all this other crazy shit. And it was a hard pass. And I feel it sucks to say it because I love being able to hype up AWA. But I'm looking at Kaiser's comment that's how I feel about a lot of AWA books lately. And I'm not saying for me every single one of them, but I will admit I haven't been enjoying AWA as much. I don't know what's been going on with some of the series. But I've been left with a lot of them where I thought, this actually wasn't as good. I usually, when I'm done with an issue, I'm always like, yeah, let's go. Let's get another one. This shit's awesome. Like Trojan was bad. This isn't super recent, but New Think was also absolutely horrible. And there's another one that I can't think of off the top of my head that I really just didn't really like either. And I thought, man, I hope this isn't a new trend. Fourth Man wasn't bad though. It was 100% on the slower side. William, what's going on, buddy? But not bad. Let me see if I can bring up AWA super quick to see if I can get a peek at which one I'm thinking of. Absolution was pretty good. Oh, Black Tape. I like Black Tape. That was a good one. Let's see. Gatsby I didn't read. I thought Hit Me was good. Knighted was okay. Oh, wait, what is it? It's the, come on, what was it? It's the other one. Red Zone. I think it's called Red Zone. Yeah, Red Zone, I'm not enjoying that one, like, at all either. So, kind of Trojan, Red Zone. Primos was awful. Primos was not good. So, yeah, AWA, they've had a couple stinkers lately. Moving on to, speaking of, I don't even know how to feel about this one. John, what's up, bud? Next one from Dark Horse, we've got Blue Book. This is issue number 3. It's a $5 book, and I think that might be playing into why I'm not a huge fan of it. It's written by Tynion. The artwork, it's not bad, and by not bad, it's really, it's just not that great. This whole issue, so I like how they've kind of been building onto the story. I'm waiting for something interesting to happen, though, and I feel like this issue was supposed to be that interesting one, and it just didn't happen at all. So, the first issue, the encounter happened. We learned about Barney and Betty. I think her name's Betty, right? Barney and Betty? Yeah, we learned about Barney and Betty. They're taking their vacation, and they saw a UFO, and they got abducted by aliens. That's the entire premise of the story. They lost track of time. They lost track of what was going on. Everything was foggy. They didn't know what happened, but they remembered something. Something did happen. They remember the lights. They remember this UFO, and then some weird things started happening from there. They didn't know who to tell. They didn't know what to do. Second issue, I thought was way better than the first one. That's when they realized something did in fact happen. They started noticing some stuff going on with them. Barney noticed something that was implanted onto him, and they wanted to figure out what to do from there. They wanted to figure out, do we tell people? Who do we tell? Who do we approach about this? And, you know, that was the whole premise of the second one then. So the third one, I thought, all right, things are about to get interesting because now they've decided to talk to somebody. They're filling in the blank spots with their foggy memory. They're going to do hypnosis. They want to figure out what actually went down. And it still was kind of boring to me. I thought, man, was this supposed to be the good one? They're showing the aliens. They're showing all of this stuff. I feel like this was supposed to be a lot better than it turned out to be. And I just think going forward, I don't know how many issues are in this, like maybe 4 or 5. I can't imagine they go past 5 issues, but at this point, I want to drop it, but I'm also kind of invested in it because $5 a book, it's $15 now for these 3 issues that realistically I wish I wouldn't have picked up from the start. But I don't know what they're really getting at here. Let's see if I can find out real quick, because I am actually interested myself. Let's see. Blue Book, Dark Horse. It's just popping up. It's not showing how many issues on previews. Let's see if it's on League of Comic Geeks, if they show how many. Let's see. It's probably 5, if I had to take a guess. And it looks like it's probably ending June 28th then with the 5th and final issue. So, yeah, John, that's why I just took a peek at. There's no change in art. I keep hoping for a change when something happens, but so far I'm not thrilled. Yeah, I feel like this was kind of more of a letdown series so far. James Tynion. It's got nice cardstock cover. It's about aliens. There's like these little backup stories at the very end. They haven't really been that good either. It's only a few pages, like this one. It's like 5 pages, I think. So that's where the $5 probably comes from. But yeah, overall, it's a skippable series. If you wanted to start it, I would skip it or just wait. Now, we are moving on to Image. I've got 4 books to talk about from Image, and like I said, I didn't have an opportunity to read Ambassador. I still have to read issue number 2, although I did get issue number 2 and 3 together, so I'm going to sit down and try to read them at the same time. I just didn't have an opportunity to, and I apologize for that. Let's see. BJ, do I have to read House of Slaughter to keep on going with Something's Killing Children? Absolutely not. You don't have to read House of Slaughter at all. It's basically just another story set in the Something's Killing Children world. Oh, I do have it here if anyone wants to see, though. If anyone is interested in that artwork, how do you say his name? Travis Charest? Is that how you say it? I do have the artwork. This is no doubt the art of the week. This is insane. I love the artwork in this book. It's so good. I'm excited to read it. Here's the beginning of it. It's so nice. But like I said, didn't read it though. Let's do this one. Let's see. Kaiser says, what's the book of the year so far? I don't know. I've read a lot. I've realistically probably read... Shit, I don't know. I don't know about book of the year, but I'm going to talk about the series of the year very, very shortly. Because I have a couple in mind, and they both came out this week. Next up, we got Plush, issue number 6, cover A. Kind of wraps on to the back just a little bit. Series finale. It was so good. I love this one. They did a great job with it. I was a big fan of this series. I think overall Here, let me get some artwork up here for you. So I talked about a couple times, I may have even talked about it a couple times today, where I said, you've got this type of a story going on, and I don't think the art matches the story at all, specifically Thor. Nick Klein's art was perfect for it, and they went to that other art, and it just wasn't good. I talked about from Vault, we got The Nasty, issue number 1, John Lees. I think he's great at horror. It was a good horror story, but the artwork was so bright and vibrant. It was more of like a cartoon style, and I don't think it matched at all. So then we got this one, which is arguably the same thing. Oh man, I almost spoiled that, although you probably just saw a little bit. You've got this cannibalistic furries, and you also have this bright and vibrant kind of goofy comedy series. But I think the artwork works. I think the art looks very good for this story. I think it matches perfectly, but it's the same artist I think that's done, Wagner Hilliard. I think they also did Vinyl. I think they had them all at the very back. It was like, Vinyl, The Ride, or actually not The Ride. Plastic it's Plastic and Vinyl. Those are the other ones that I'm missing out, that I forgot about. So it's the same style of art. Here's Vinyl. That was another good one. But yeah, it's the whole concept of the story is we got a guy who's not enjoying his life at all. He's got a girlfriend, or he's got a fiance, and she cheats on him and she treats him bad, and she's very open about being with kind of another guy, but he's fairly locked into this relationship due to his family and her family too. Her dad is the chief of police, and there's a lot of stuff going on, and he basically is forced to marry this girl no matter what. He decides one day that, things aren't going so right, and he meets up with these cannibalistic furries at a party, and that's when all hell breaks loose and a lot of crazy shit starts to happen in his life. And everything's been building up in this series to this issue where it is the big war between the furries and the cops. It was a lot of fun. I really liked the way it ended. I think it was kind of an open-ended, maybe a volume 2. I don't think they're usually known for volume 2s, but they left it on a good note. This is worth the read. Find the back issues if you can. I'm sure in due time, these are all going to be just a couple bucks for the issues. I'm sure they'll be in your LCS's dollar bins. But like K-Bar just said, trade paperback comes out in August. Looking forward to it. That's the best way to read it. Let me see if I can show you some more pages without spoiling too much. But you see, like, this is the page I showed earlier, kind of how the writing is, where there's really not a lot of dialogue, not a lot of stuff going on, just some action, things happening from there, characters yelling at each other. You can read the series very fast. So take that for what it is. If you can find the back issues, I think it's worth a read, absolutely. But trade paperback comes out in August. I would just wait for that. Next up, I read this one digitally, but we got Indigo Children number 2. Another really good issue. This one, I don't think had as much info as the first one. I think the first issue did a great job setting everything up. I was a really big fan of the first issue. I loved it. I don't think I put it at number 1 that week when I was still doing top 10 lists. I'm pretty positive I put it at number 2, and I think Ambassadors number 1 got the number 1 that week. But they were basically on par with each other, in my opinion. We learned that there's a journalist. He's getting some inside scoops about these indigo children, these kind of lost and forgotten about kids that had powers. They were sent somewhere, and he's out trying to discover stuff. The second issue, we get to meet another indigo child, and we get to see him go about his day to day. We see his job, his house, his work life, or his home life, everything like that. And all of a sudden, like, you know, some things are happening here and there. And you learn that he's one of the indigo children, and a lot of crazy stuff happens after that. You get to see his powers. You get to see how he thinks about things. It's a very good series that I really recommend checking out. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I know, I mean, like I said, there's 36 people watching right now. I know people are reading Indigo Children. That is a bomb-ass series. Such a great one from Image. And now we're down to the last 2 that I'm going to be talking about today. Before we hop into the tier list maker, which one are we doing first? We're going to go with What's the Furthest Place from Here, issue number 12. This is cover A. This one's continuing on with Sid's story. I can't believe how much I love this series. This series has truly turned into one of my favorite ones from Image. In the beginning, I know I've said this like 100 times. Every time I talk about this series, this is what I do. I always say, you know, it started off and I wasn't too sure about it. Like, that's just me making fun of myself. Like, oh, it's just okay, I guess. But they kind of made these chapters in it. Wasn't a huge fan of it. But then it was like issue 3 or issue number 4. And I said that's what really sold me when they brought the elders into it, because they were so creepy. They were so weird. The family lost a couple of the members to the elders. And I was telling myself, I'm like, yo, I'm hooked. This is good stuff. Now we're continuing on with Sid's story, and what are we doing in this issue? She's meeting the elders for the first time. So it's like my favorite issue of the series that really got me hooked. We're back to the elders, and they are just as creepy, just as weird, and it was such a fun one. We got to see Sid. The dog was there. She meets up with the elders. She's saying, you know, I'm hungry. I need food. And the elders, they're not old at all, but that's the family. And all their teeth got ripped out. They act like they're these old people when in reality they're not. They're still just, I don't know, young adults or maybe actual adults. But it was just, they're so creepy. And the monsters that you got to see earlier, if you did read that series and you remember, when they did find the elders, the whole reason all that shit went down was because one of them killed one of those monsters or whatever they were. Maybe it was a different family. You got to see what their actual face looked like in this issue too, and they are creepy. There's so much more going on in this story that we just do not know yet. And man, I'm telling you guys right now, of all the stuff that Image is coming out with, this one has blown my mind the most with how much I love it. Here's the artwork. Let me show you some of the art for it too. Now it's funny because this art style is kind of on par with like, you know what I mean, where it's a little bit more on the cartoonish side, not as much, you know, like stuff like TMNT. I'll put that for example. Like it's not like this type of art. It's a little bit more lighter, cartoonish, bubbly, stuff like that. Like look at that character's face. Like I said, a little bit more on the cartoony side. But look at the elders down there. There's elders in the middle. They're so creepy and so weird. But I'm telling you, of all the series, this is definitely one that needs to be on your radar. I love it. All right, and this is the last one that I'm going to be reviewing for you guys today. So, like I said, we had 15. Burbs, what's up? How you doing today? Killadelphia, issue number 30. Oh my God. This, no doubt in my mind, was the best issue of the series so far. What they did in this issue was just me as a reader of the series and all the things that I've read for it so far. Every time I'm done reading a Killadelphia issue, I'm like, all right, that was really good. Like another really good issue from Rodney Barnes, another continuation of just the Killadelphia series. I love where the plot progression is. I love the character development. Always loving the series, but this issue, I don't know if it's the start of a new arc or not yet, but everything that they did in this one, I couldn't believe it. We got to see Seesaw, how he became a vampire. We got to see his friend. I think his name was Roy or Ron. Let's see. What was his name? Ray. His name was Ray. So we got to see Seesaw as a kid, and then eventually how he became a vampire. We got to see his buddy Ray, what happened to him, and just kind of what led Seesaw to kind of being who he is, and him learning the magic powers, stuff like that. Guess what else? You Nita Haw Nightmare blog fans, Nita Hawes is finally in Philadelphia. She's in this series. I don't want to spoil anything. I don't. I'm just telling you straight up right now. There were so many positive and good things happening in this issue that I'm telling you straight up. This was, in my opinion, the best issue of the series. Everything was so perfect about it. It flowed so well with the story. It developed everything just a little bit more, but it felt like so much that was built up happened in this issue. But not only that, the background and origin kind of on Seesaw was incredible. Absolutely incredible. Is that comic any good? Sarcasm intensifies. Sarcasm intensifies more. It's ass. Okay. But no, seriously, check that out. It's a banger. This book is having a crossover with Spawn. Yeah, I didn't want to spoil that, but the ending was really crazy too. That was probably the most mind-blowing thing of the issue, in my opinion. That came out of left field. I had no idea that was going to happen. Spitzkoff, I like Killadelphia as much as you like ASM. But that's all the books. So you know what time it is. Let's rank these books. All right. What are we doing first? We're going down the line. We're going to start with Marvel. We're going to start with Marvel, and we're going to start with Marvel because they're going to set the tone. Marvel set the tone this week, folks. I started off with Daredevil. I thought Daredevil was a really good issue. I did. But as good as I thought, Thor and S, yes, Thor is S. Shit. That is a whole different S. So Daredevil, let me bring it up real quick on here. So it was good. I will say that. It was good. I think this was going to be tough. I think Daredevil is a very good B+. But to be honest, I think it sneaks into I think it sneaks into the A- category. I think Daredevil, the artwork is phenomenal in it. Marco Cicchetto has done a phenomenal job with the art. It's fantastic to look at. I love the style. It matches the story. It's dark. It's gritty. It's great. The story itself, they're still dealing with everything. You get to see Matt Murdock have these internal problems. The Avengers are now here. They're trying to stop him and Elektra, trying to kind of rope the prisoners back in, take them back to the island. A lot of good stuff happening in the series. Anything groundbreaking happened in this issue? No. Was it bad? Absolutely not. It was great. But I think it sneaks into the A- category. Next up, what was the next one I did? I think I did Strange Academy next. Strange Academy, I think, was an absolute letdown of a series. I really do. As much as I like the action in this issue, as much as I like the things that were happening, I like the ending. I think it was rushed. I don't think we got what us fans deserved from the series. I think the finals was a complete kind of a letdown of a second volume, second arc, whatever you want to call it. But as far as strictly this issue goes, like I said, something big and crazy did happen. There's a ton of action. I don't think it was that great of action, but I do think it still is a B. Not great, not bad. Is it what we deserved? Absolutely not, but it wasn't bad by any means. So I think B is a very fair one for Strange Academy. Next up, we got Thor. Right here? No, I'm kidding. That shit ain't going there. That's D. That's D for fucking dumb. That's what Thor is. It's a terrible series. Everything about it. The artwork sucks. The story sucks. Us as fans, we're 33 issues deep. We deserve better than that. That's a joke. That's a slap in the face. Like I said, I almost made a whole separate category for that series because it sucks that much. Next up. Hey, Robert, what's up, buddy? Let's see. Hey, are you able to follow all the different story titles you read without getting lost? It does happen. I feel like I'm pretty good at being able to remember what happens in all these series. I feel like I pick up a Killadelphia issue and I don't immediately remember like what happened in, say, 29, but as soon as I start reading it, I remember everything. Like, I remember the last issue was everything that happened with, I believe it was the one president and everything that happened with that. Like, Strange Academy, for the most part, I remember pretty good. So it's not perfect. Sometimes I have to go back and do like a little recap on what happened in the last issue, but I think it's pretty solid for me. Next up, I'm going to be doing Hulk. That one is also a D to me. I think it's also another really bad series that I'm really happy is finally over. I think the artwork is nice, and I think the artwork is probably the only thing that's good about that series. From the beginning, middle, and end, Hulk was just an absolute letdown every single time I read it. I will admit, in the very beginning, I was intrigued. I wouldn't say I was interested, but I was intrigued to see what happens with the story. I applaud Donny Cates for trying something different and kind of out of left field, especially after coming from the Immortal Hulk. However, with his type of a writing style, and I think with his skills of writing, I think he should have continued on with the Immortal Hulk stories, especially seeing how Al Ewing took over Venom and continued on with that shit-ass Venom story. So, one of those things, but still overall, it was a letdown. Let me get that one out of the way. And then we'll do Deadpool next. Let's see. What do you guys think about this one so far? Deadpool, I think is this one Deadpool? Let me see what that cover. Yeah, that one's Deadpool. So I think with Deadpool, same thing. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was absolutely more of a filler issue, and they didn't really do much to progress the plot. It was kind of the same exact things that they talked about in the last issue was happening in this issue as well. My opinion, I feel like if you read 5, what are we on? If you read 5, skipped 6, and went on to 7, you probably wouldn't miss anything. You probably could miss that entire issue and think that that issue didn't exist and they messed up on numbering. So with that being said, I think it deserves a C because I like the artwork. I liked all their dialogue with each other, but at the same time, while I liked the conversations they had, it still wasn't good. They just didn't do much in the story at all. And then the final, oh shit, it's a big ass week. Let's see. We're going to do Alien next. Alien, I agree with what Mark said. I think Mark was pretty on par. It didn't really get good reviews. I think he said he didn't really hear good things that happened about it or what happened in it. I can agree. The artwork was nice. It was oversized. There was good conversations going on with all of the characters, but it was pretty boring. We didn't see any alien in it until the final page, and even then, you still didn't really get anything with the alien. The facehugger was still frozen from when they found it at the beginning of the issue, and the whole time it was that family just dealing with, what was it? I almost said Yuta Watanabe again. I don't know why. What do they call it? Wayland Yutani. That's what they dealt with. They dealt with Wayland Yutani the whole time. Did I like it more than Strange Academy? I didn't. Did I like it more than Deadpool? I did. I think it's another C book in my opinion. I will be continuing on with that one though. I just wish for an issue 1 they kind of started off more with a bang. And now we got my boy Spitzkoff. He says, please tell me Venom was good. I know you missed the whole beginning of the stream. I had very, very positive things to say. Oh, man. Joseph L. bought all the variant covers for Alien, but didn't read it. I appreciate the donation, bud. You didn't have to do that, but thank you so much. It means a lot. Venom, Lethal Protector, Volume 2, Issue number 2. Like I was saying, Spitzkoff, I know you missed the beginning of the stream. I said very positive things about it. I love the artwork. I love the story that they're doing. I love the action. There's even gore in it, which kind of threw me off a little bit. But to me, it's an A. That might be the best Marvel book. I said I think Daredevil was the best Marvel book that I read this week. But I don't think at that time I got to Venom yet, and I kind of forgot that Venom existed. This to me was definitely the best Marvel book that I read this week. I think they did a great job with it. Joseph, happy to, and happy to catch some of the list live. Man, thank you, though. It means a lot to me. Spitzkoff technically is volume 3, but based on this numbering system, it's volume 2. But yes, there is a volume 1 from, late 90s, mid 90s, somewhere around there. But yes, that one is technically volume 1. Killadelphia was too deep in its run by the time I noticed it. Man, I'll tell you what, Kaiser, I stopped reading Killadelphia around issue number 8, and everybody was always commenting, you gotta get back on Killadelphia. You gotta get back on it. Because in the beginning, it wasn't bad. The art style wasn't 100% for me. But when they started doing all the other crazy shit, the presidents, the monsters, the demons, I was like, yo, I am so happy you guys got me back on this series. It is phenomenal. But yes, I think it was better than Daredevil. Artwork to me is pretty much on par. I really like both styles of artwork. I think they did a good job with both artworks. But overall, I really like the Venom Lethal Protector story, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a little biased. I do like Venom a lot more than Daredevil. Venom is one of my favorite characters. Spider-Man's up there, Carnage. That's why I'm always so critical and disappointed in a lot of the series, because they are some of my favorite characters, and I think they're just doing a disservice to all of them. I think they're beating them down to the ground. I think they're just milking it for what it's worth. But this is a very quality series, in my opinion. Joshua Alvey, you did not miss me talking about Green Arrow. I didn't read it. I had a pretty big week, man. And I've heard great things about it. I had, 2, 4, 6. I had 7 Marvel books, and I was already like, I don't want to keep going with the superhero stuff, knowing that Indigo Children's kind of a superhero book. Even TMNT Last Ronin's not superhero, but it is slightly on that level, so I don't know. That's what I told myself, at least. I'm regretting skipping Venom. It's only a couple issues, and you don't need to read the first volume. Best characters deserve the best series, CASM. ASM's terrible, though. Let me do... Neighbors. Neighbors is a tough one. So Neighbors was the one from Boom Studios that I did. That was... that I read digitally. It was horrible. It was not a good series. I'm going to put this one down there right after Thor. Hulk was better. Doesn't mean Hulk was good at all. But Neighbors was terrible, and Thor's bad. And then we're going to move on to, what was the other one we got next? We'll do the AWA series. This one to me was also a big letdown. It's a 4-issue. So when I talk about AWA, I feel like AWA always has a specific formula when writing. They go crazy in the first issue. You get plot progression, you get character development, you get background stories in these characters, and they set up where everything is going to be going, and it's crazy for the most part. And that's what usually brings everybody into that series. No matter what for AWA, I feel like they all follow the same guidelines. Issue 2, the plot that's happening, they usually give us a backstory on why that is happening and what led those characters to be in that situation. So issue 2 is usually always a banger that leads into issue 3, and issue 3 is always this crazy setup for the final issue, and they usually knock it out of the park for the final issue. However, Trojan, I feel like, was different, and it just was a different formula, and none of it landed with me. I didn't think it was a good series. So that's a C. No, I did not like Thor. I wish we could see what Cates had planned to do with Thor. I do too. I think us as fans deserve it. It's 33 issues. He just left at 31, and now all of a sudden this arc is the one where all the shit with Thanos is popping off. Why? Just take a hiatus from Thor then. Don't keep it going. Say, we're taking a break from Thor. It'll be back eventually. Our boy Donnie here just needs a fucking break from writing or something. Everything he built is now just being shot down to the shitter, man. I liked 1 and 4 of Trojan, but it felt so rushed. That's what I think too, Joseph L. Trojan was absolutely rushed in my opinion, but that's the thing with AWA. They do a lot of these miniseries, but at that same time is they do a killer job usually setting everything up. So that's why I'm saying, like, it felt so different. It didn't feel like the same type of story format that they always do, and it was a letdown, but that's, always my opinion. John's Comics with Kids, what's up, buddy? Hope you're doing well today. Thanks for popping in. Also, her actions, that's what I'm saying. I talked about that on Tuesday. It's like she basically was like, all right, fairies, just go live your life, and they all got butchered, and she sat in her little prison cell like, oh, damn, that's a shame. I'm still sitting here, guys. Woohoo. Why? Her whole purpose was trying to save everybody. And I think it was them that kept saying, like, no, we're not going to make it out alive. And she's like, you guys can do it. I think that's how that went down. And I don't know. Even if I'm mixing some things up, it still didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Black Box Comics, what's up? Oh, man, everybody's got to check them out. They sent me that awesome care package. I still didn't get a chance to read the books yet. I'm going to sit down and try to read them all at once. New Comic Book Day was busy, but, man, I'm pumped. Man, it's going to be a giveaway for all you guys. Let's see. Spitzkoff, I saw that Vanish issues are releasing again. I'm curious if Cates comes back to Marvel and what characters he will write. I don't know at this point. I think when I was talking with somebody, they said that, because I made the same comment. I was like, well, Vanish is still going on. It's not like he's taking a hiatus from writing in general. He's just off of Marvel. But I think what someone was saying is like, no, he had a lot of stuff already written for Vanish. So they're just doing the art for it now. Let's see. She basically released them all as cannon fodder and then could have saved them after she did her thing. See, I thought that, that's what I thought too. It's not like they were going anywhere. She was up next and her whole thing was planned out. So the fact that she just kind of sent them all to their death while then she saved the day the next day anyway. And that was her whole thing while she was getting revenge. She's like, I'm getting revenge for my people, my kind, guys. I'm saving them. No, literally just last night, you let most of them die off. So I don't know. What's the other one that I read digitally, or not digitally, not yet. We still have, we got IDW's The Last Ronin and then Dark Horse's Blue Book. Blue Book. I know I was a little negative on this one. Sean, what's up, buddy? What's up, Aaron? Just checking in while working. Man, I appreciate you popping in like that. I hope you're having a good day. I hope work ain't too hard on you. So I have Blue Book. I think personally I'm disappointed because I like Tinian a lot. It's a $5 book. The artwork's not that great. I expect more from an alien story, a little bit more something. And that's what I was saying before, especially out of 5 issues, this is issue 3. I think this was to them this kind of... It was supposed to be a bigger issue than what it was. It was supposed to feel a little bit more, I don't know, like it has a meaning or it has purpose to the rest of the series. And it kind of fell flat. But with that being said, it wasn't horrible. I still liked what I was reading. I just expected more out of it. So for that, I'm going to put it at a B. I think B is very fair. We got both sides. Well, technically, we only got Barney's side of the story. The next issue is going to be Betty's side of everything. And they said Betty's side doesn't exactly match up with Barney's. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Yeah, Joseph L., you know me. I usually get my cover A's. That's why I had to get the cover B. A little dash hound on it. I got a little dash hound. Little Miss Ellie, she's out there doing God knows what right now. But the next one, we got TMNT's The Last Ronin Lost Years. This is cover A, another really good story to the series. I think they've done a great job with it so far. The artwork is fantastic. Very, very dialogue heavy. Not a lot of action in this one so far. But the story that they're talking about, I love the dialogue between all the characters. When the other turtles come back, like as the little, as the ghosts or whatever, maybe Michelangelo's just hearing their voices, whatever. But I love when that happens. I loved how he, despite becoming blind, he was still able to continue on with his training, learn a lot more new stuff. It was a great issue. I'm a big fan of TMNT's The Last Ronin. I really am. And then, where we going? I saw Thor and Trojan pop. I was like, nah, I get that out of my pile, man. Let's see. Now we've got Plush. great ending to the series. I liked the artwork. I liked what they did with it. This was basically a complete action series, but at the same time, it had a little happy ending as well. I'm glad our main character, I think his name is Devin. I don't think they're even going to mention his name. I'm glad we got to see Devin kind of have a happy ending. Everything that was supposed to happen just did its thing. It was a great read. I really recommend checking that one out. I'm going to put it at... That one deserves an A too, but I like the other books more. Poor Thor. No, not poor Thor, man. Poor us for reading Thor. Poor us, man. Plush is classic. It was good. It was really good. I need to go back and check out vinyl and plastic now. We're down to the final 3, folks. I'm going to be real with you. These were all phenomenal. I'm going to do the one I read digitally first, Indigo Children number 2. I'm a big fan of the story. I really am. I like how we got to see a new Indigo child. We got to see his powers. We got to see how his mind works. We got to see his day-to-day. And it was all set up for them to kind of reveal that he is an Indigo child. The other one from the first issue made an appearance, and seeing them work together to take down the bad guys, it was a dope issue. Sorry I can't show off the artwork, but the artwork is also very good. That's an S tier, baby. That's an S tier. That's a great series. I loved it. I'm looking forward to it. And I highly recommend it. Now, another one. What's the furthest place from here? Issue number, 12? We're continuing on with Sid's story. We got the Elders. We got all this creepy, crazy shit happening. I mean, there's nothing else I can say about this that I haven't already said. The artwork's great. The story's phenomenal. It's only getting better. It's an entire world. It's a massive world that they are building, and what's the furthest place from here? There's all these different families, and there's all this different shit that's going on. And I feel like it's slowly all coming together piece by piece. And it's starting to slowly make sense. We're learning more about the mysteries in this world. And with all that being said, that's another S tier book. It's an S tier, no doubt. It is that good. It is, you gotta read it. I didn't get World Tree this week. I picked up cover B last week when it was originally supposed to release. My shop did get the books. They put out all of the covers besides cover A. They kept those for themselves. Whatever they do with them, I don't know. But I reviewed it. I reviewed it for last week's video. I think I put it A. I don't remember where I put it, but it was a great issue. And now we got Killadelphia, number 30. Well, you guys already know I just got done hyping up Indigo Children and what's the furthest place from here. I already told you straight up, this was the best issue. I think this is the best issue of the series so far. It did an incredible job progressing the story. Nita Hawes is finally in Philadelphia. We got to see the origin story of Seesaw, the story with his friend. That was a sad story, but it was also a great story that led him to become the vampire, led him to kind of be this demigod as well. That is the pick of the week. That is my top read of the week, no doubt in my mind. As much as I love What's the Furthest Place from Here and Indigo Children, as soon as I was, especially the cliffhanger in Killadelphia, as soon as I was done reading that issue, I needed the next one right away. I said to myself, this is no doubt going to be the best issue of the week. And I read that probably the middle of the new comic book. It's probably like the 8th issue. It's probably about 8 issues deep. I read that one. As soon as I was done, I took a little step back and I thought, do I even want to keep reading these books? Are there going to be any books that are even remotely as good as this one? Probably not. I mean, there were still a lot of really good ones, but that one was just, it was on another level. It really was. So that's why you have S tier. It's a new level. And at that rate, it almost makes me want to put the other two as an A+, but no, they're all top tier books. Absolutely. Bone Factory says F. And the only thing F about Killadelphia is that it's fucking awesome. That's the F of it. But my friends, chat, that's a wrap on this week's new comic book day. We got some killer books. It was a huge week. I'm sorry about the Ambassadors. I didn't get a chance to read that one. And I also didn't get a chance to read Green Arrow. I'll see what I can do about reading them for Tuesday's stream. I'll see if I can give you my kind of opinions on them then. Usually I'm still up in the air if I'm doing Friday or Monday. Just bear with me in the meantime. Tuesday and Thursday are still absolutely dead set. Those streams are happening. I want to tweak the Friday or Monday stream a little bit more. I want to make it into a really good experience for you guys. Instead of just kind of me sitting here kind of bullshitting and showing you whatever on screen. I want to have like a good thing set for you guys. So I'm just bear with me on that. But in the meantime, Tuesdays and Thursdays are still absolutely set. 5 o'clock EST. But seriously, thank you all so much for tuning in. It really does mean a lot to me. The donation from Joseph L., thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. You guys never have to do that. I really do appreciate it, but you don't have to do that ever. Great books. I hope you guys all enjoyed your books. You're able to get all of your books. As always, I got the community Discord pinned at the top. You got any questions about it, hit me up with it. It's a great time. A lot of fun in there. It's almost 40 people now, so that's pretty sweet. My Patreon is listed down below if you feel like supporting the channel that way. And seriously, love you guys. You guys all rock. Thank you so much for everything. Enjoy your books. If you haven't read them yet, go pick them up. Oh, real quick, also last thing, catch me every Wednesday for the EXP live stream, 6 o'clock EST for the comics and collectibles. But if you are in the Allentown, Pennsylvania area, let me know. My comic shop that I work at, The Encounter in Allentown, PA, they're doing a Black Friday sale this whole weekend. I'm telling you, the shit is going to be crazy. I'm not just hyping it up. When they do Black Friday sales, well, they've only done real Black Friday, but most of the shit in the store is like 40 and 50% off. They've got an entire, like couple tables of all stuff for $1. And I think they have a sign that just says, like all shit is $1, and it's like pops. It's a lot of stuff. They've got almost everything marked halfway. Wall books are, I think, 50% off. All trading cards are 50% off. Pops, I think, are 40 or 50. Let me know. Reach out to me if you guys are in the area. I'd love to meet up with some of you over at the shop. But seriously, thank you all so much again. Stay safe and have a great day. Leading up to Free Comic Book Day. Tuesday, I'm going to be talking about all of the Free Comic Book Day books. It's not going to be in Sunday's video, but Tuesday's stream, I'll be covering it all. Let me know for all of that. Love you guys. Stay safe and have an awesome weekend. And hopefully I'll see you guys, some of you guys on Saturday. See you in the next one, folks.